Okay, now I'm ready. All right, the first question asks, find the average of the first 10 positive even integers. So, do you know what a positive even integer is? I guess that's the first question. Okay. So an integer is just a number that you count, and it can be positive or negative. So this would be the first 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's supposed to be 18. And then this last one is 20. So this is kind of a pattern question. We could do this by brute force, by just taking all of these numbers, adding them together, and then dividing by 10.
I don't see the scribbler anymore. Did I exit out of it, or did it go away?
It says that you're still on it. So you can't see any of the numbers that I wrote?
No, I don't know where I went with it. Where is it? I'm on the Hangouts. I can see you.
Okay.
Where would that have gone? I'm so sorry, Don.
That's all right. Not a big deal.
There we go. Okay, I'm back.
Do you see all the numbers now?
Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
Right. Okay. So I could do this. I could take all the numbers and put a plus sign between all of them. And then I have 10 numbers, so I divide by 10. The formula that you have to remember for average is this. Average is equal to the sum divided by the number of numbers. Okay, so to find the sum, you just add all the numbers up, and then you divide by how many there are. So, I mean, so I can do that on my calculator. Hold on one second. I believe I get 210 when I add all of them up. So 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 plus 12 plus 14 plus 16 plus 18 plus 20. I get 110, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to divide it by 10, and you get 11. Okay, so that's the long way to do the question.
Okay.
So the average
for the first 10 is 11.
Is 11.
Okay.
Now let me ask you a question. If I take this number plus that number, so that's 2. What's 2 plus 20?
22.
How many numbers do you have?
2.
So when you divide those together, what do you get?
11.
What if I do these two numbers?
4 and 18. 22. Oh, that's weird.
That's the way numbers work. When you have an ordered pattern like that, if you take the biggest number and the smallest number, you add them together and divide by 2, it'll give you the average.
Interesting. Okay. And that's like no matter what the numbers are?
Yes, because that's if they're in sequential order and they're all even.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Because if I were to start with 4 and then I were to go to 22, then my average would be 12. Do it.
Gotcha.
So
it's 20.
Because 22 plus 4 is
26.
Sorry, it'd be 13. It goes up 2. So
wow.
because they are going in order and you're not skipping any numbers.
Okay.
That's the reason that works. But this is the thing that I actually want you to remember, because that's the thing we're going to use for all of the questions. We're going to use some form of that. So that's the definition of average.
Okay. I like it.
Okay. So let's read the next question. Read it to me.
What is the average of x minus 4, x, and x plus 4?
And I know we haven't done very much algebra, but just bear with me.
So,
okay.
So I wouldn't know to do the plus x in the middle because there was just a comma. So is that the rule, or how does that work?
Okay.
So you're just
so our first number was this one, right? That was our first number. That represents our first number. And let me
x minus 4. Yeah.
And then this represents our second number.
Okay.
And then this one represents our third number. So
x plus
if
4.
I want to find the sum of those three numbers, what do I do to them? So let's say I have 4, 7, and 9. And I want to find the sum of those four numbers, or those three numbers. What would I do to them?
What would you do to them?
Yeah.
You would add them up?
You would add them
up and divide by the number of numbers there are.
And how many numbers do I have?
3.
So I'm going to do the exact same thing with these. The thing that you have to recognize is that this equation represents a number. We just don't know what that number is.
Okay. Okay.
But you see this letter? And that letter? And that letter?
They're all the same.
They're all the same. So it will always be the exact same number. Whatever x is, it's going to be the exact same number in each case. So
okay.
X just represents a number.
By the way, on your calculation, the third number, it's x plus 4.
It's x
on
plus
the problem.
Sorry.
It's okay.
All right. So I want to talk about what happens when you add numbers together before I actually do this. Okay. So
okay.
Let's say I have -4 plus 8 minus 4, or plus 4, sorry. So I have those three numbers and I want to add them together. Because this number is negative and this one is positive, they cancel each other out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would just get 8. So even though I have letters up here, the same rule applies. This number and that number are opposites of one another, right?
Right.
So they just cancel each other out. And so if I look at the x's, how many x's do you see there?
3.
So that's just equal to 3x.
So 3x divided by 3 is x.
Is x. So that's
right.
the answer.
So the answer would be B, x.
Yep. And we can play around with this just so you can understand it a little bit better. It doesn't matter what number I stick in there, I would still get the exact same answer. So let's say that I'm going to plug in x is equal to 2. Okay? Mm-hmm. So every place where I see an x, I'm going to put a 2. So this is 2 minus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4. And I want to find the average of it. This was one of my numbers. This was another one of my numbers. And that was my last number. Do you see how I got that?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm just going to do the math. So this 4 and that 4 do what to one another?
Cancel.
When I add the 2's up, what do I get?
6.
How many numbers did I have in the first place?
3.
So what's 6 divided by 3?
2.
And what did I say x was in the first place?
2.
So I'm doing that to show you that that letter actually represents a number, and the number could be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't matter what number I stick in for x, I would still get the exact same number back.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Number 3, yes.
Okay.
Number 3 overwhelms me as well on how, because I have not done that. But I mean, realistically, would you change the fraction over to 0.5 and do it that way?
Yes,
or
that's exactly how you would do it. You would actually do that in your calculator. So,
so the square, is that the square root of 0.09, or what is that? What is that
yeah,
saying?
That's the square root of 0.09. So you would literally
Which would
take
be
the square root of 0.09. And I can actually change that to a number. If you do it in your calculator, you get 0.3. So
I was going to say, it's 0.03?
It's point what?
Is it 0.03?
No, nope, it's 0.3. Because when I multiply 0.3 times 0.3, the number that I get is 9, right? But how many numbers do I have behind the decimal?
Yeah, it moved.
It moved. So you have to put a 0 there because you have 2 numbers behind the decimal here. So there has to be 2 numbers behind the decimal there. So you have to put that 0 in front of the 9. And the square root is asking what number times itself is equal to 0.09. That's actually what the square root does. Are you with me?
Yep.
Okay.
So
that
find the average of 0.3 plus 0.4 plus 0.5, which is 1.2, and you divide that by 3, which is 0.4.
Notice when the numbers are in sequential order, the average is the middle number.
Okay, yeah.
So if I were to do this, what would your average be?
2 plus 3 plus 4 plus... So you just 0.4.
It's still the middle number, right? You notice that the number of numbers I have is odd, right?
Yes.
So as long as they're odd, as long as the number of numbers you have is odd, and they're going in sequential order, the answer is always going to be the middle number.
Okay.
That's another thing that numbers do, because there's always a pattern to numbers.
Got it.
Okay. The next one.
So Valerie received test grades of 93 and 88 on her first 2 French tests. What grade must she get on the 3rd test to have an average of 92?
Have you ever done that before? A question like that, like in real life?
On these tests, I've had a question similar to that, and honest to God, what I would do is I would take every option and I would figure out which one it is by adding them up and dividing until I get the 92.
Well, let me give you an easier way to do that. This is actually, because you're going to school, and depending on how well you're doing, you need to know what you need on the next test in order to bring your grade up or keep it to where it is. This is actually something that you can actually use in real life.
Okay.
Okay. So remember that I said the average is made up of three things. It's the average itself, the sum, and the number of numbers. So I'm going to break this problem down into those three things for you.
92 equals x over 3.
Watch me do it. Just watch it.
Okay.
For the first time. Okay, so 92 was the average. That's the number that we're trying to get to, right?
Uh-huh.
By the time I take my final test, how many grades will I have in total?
3.
So that's the number that goes here. And now I need to figure out my sum. So my sum is going to be all of the test grades added up. So I have 88 plus 93 plus some grade I don't know yet. Okay?
Okay.
And so I'm actually going to solve this for x. But it's going to be easier than you think. Because I'm going to take this original equation, which was average is equal to the sum. Why won't you write sum? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Are you still there?
Yep.
Okay. This is doing some weird stuff. It kicked me out of the room. Okay. I'm not going to deal with Scribbler. Because when it starts doing this, it just starts messing up over and over again. Hold on. I'm going to send you another website to go to.
Okay.
There you go.
Here we are.
The Scribbler website has a bunch of different like extra keys and stuff, which makes it nice, but sometimes their server crashes. So it drives me nuts. So we have the sum, and that was 88 plus 93 plus x. And then we have the number of numbers is 3. And then the average is equal to the sum over the number of numbers. So instead of writing the equation this way, I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to say if I have the number of numbers times the average, then it's equal to the sum. Do you understand that one-step algebra problem, how I moved this part up there? Do you get that part?
Do I get it as in understand why you would do that?
Yes.
No, but because that's kind of, you're separating the numbers from x so that you can get an actual number. So I wouldn't have known to do that, but if you tell me to do that, then yes, that makes sense because you're separating so you can get x.
Right.
So if you put x on one side and the numbers are on the other side, and that kind of like figures it out.
Right. Well, this is like one-step algebra, and I know we haven't done very much algebra. What are the sum and the number of numbers doing to one another to begin with?
They're going to multiply.
Right here. What are these two things doing with each other?
I don't know what you're asking me.
Can you see that?
They're dividing, therefore you're going to multiply.
They're dividing, and that's why when I move the number, I multiply it on the other side of the equal sign. Right. That's algebra. So that's why it moved up there.
Okay.
Okay. So now I'm just going to substitute in. So this is 3, and this is 92, which gives me a number, right?
Uh-huh.
And then when I add 88 and 93, I think I get 172. Did I do that math right?
88 and 93.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And
Wait,
so
182.
it's 182. Okay.
It's 93 and 88 is 181.
181. Sorry. 181 plus x. And then can you do 93 plus 92 or times 92 for me?
186. That is 92 times 3 is 276.
276. So do you know how to move this number over to the other side of the sign?
You subtract it, don't you?
Yes, you subtract it. You do the exact opposite. So do 176.
Yeah, from there, therefore you would be subtracting it from that side.
Right.
Which gives you 95, which equals that.
Right. And so that would be the grade you would need in order to get to keep your or to get the 92 average. You need to get a 95.
Well, it's the first one, so I would have gotten it on the first try. It's the first option. No, literally, that's what I've done every time I've ever had to take a test and find the average. I go down until I find the answer.
Okay. When you see questions on your placement test, I don't want you to do that because sometimes when they ask you an average question and you're going to see ones like this, you have to get the average twice. So you need to get the answer for the first part of the question and use that for the second part of the question. So if you're doing that, you're never going to get to the answer.
Okay.
Because you literally have to do the thing twice. There's two parts to it. And that's how most of the placement questions are worded also.
Okay. Okay.
Now
number?
Yeah.
Go ahead. The average of W and another number is A. So it's A plus W? Where it says find the other number. So the average of W and another number is A.
Okay. So in words, can you put that together? Like, can you say...
So, where am I here? Am I on here? Okay.
Oh, you get to write. Go ahead and write. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. If it's working, I don't know what's going on here. Do I have to like click on the thing? So
you shouldn't have to click on the pen at all. You just the two buttons that are on the pen, don't touch them. Just write. The top has to be clicked though in order for it to actually work.
The top.
The top of the pen. Can you see?
Yeah.
So there's a little button on the top. It's like when you actually use a real pen, you have to click the button in order to get the pen to pop out. It's kind of the same way.
Okay, let's see. No. Oh.
Nothing?
No. The pen's. Hang on. I'm so sorry.
Is the mouse working so you can actually see the thing move around?
Yeah, like I can see my little guy moving around. Hang on, I've got that cross thing. Let me get rid of that.
Oh,
or am I supposed to have that?
That's what it is. Touch the pencil and then on the side, and then touch pencil, and then it should actually write. I forgot to tell you that on the board itself.
No, that cross is still there. Yeah,
okay,
click
on the cross once, and it should turn white. Did it turn white?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Now click on the pen.
There we go.
There we go.
Make it much smaller. So A equals.
Are you writing on the top of your board where it's placed?
What do you mean?
On the screen, are you writing at the very bottom or the top?
At the middle section?
Okay, because it looks like it's on the very bottom for me. So let me see if I can resize it so I can see what you're doing. Okay, go ahead. I got it.
So, okay, so the average of W and another number is A. So the average is literally A equals W. So W plus another number, right?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yep.
No.
Well, almost. You still have one more piece to do.
Why does that keep doing?
Right. That would be the equation for the average. Now, what are they asking you to solve for?
Not an option, though.
Okay, this is why I need you to think about an average question into 3 different parts. Tell me what the sum is.
The sum is W plus X. Or, I mean, W plus X.
Okay, what is the average?
The average is W plus X divided by 2.
No. What is the average? What did they say the average was represented by?
The average of is A.
Is A.
So it says the average. Yeah. So A.
That's just A. Okay. What is the number of numbers?
2.
And now remember, I told you to write the equation like this: the average times the number of numbers is equal to the sum. So substitute in it that way.
So 2 times A.
Go ahead and write it.
What is it?
2 times A. Do you see where I'm writing?
Yeah.
Is equal to the sum. So what's the sum? Literally substitute.
The sum is.
Go ahead.
So what is the sum?
What do we write for the sum here?
W plus X.
So that's what goes here. What number are we trying to solve for?
A.
It's asking for what number? So you're always trying to solve for X.
X.
So how do you solve that equation for X?
You would have to subtract it.
Yeah. You subtract away the W, right?
Y minus X. The answer is they show 2. Okay, W minus W. Yeah. Okay. Sorry that was so tough for me to figure out.
No, it's algebra. It's not. It's something that I know that we're going to have to work on, and I kind of jumped into it with average questions. But you almost need to know algebra in order to do average questions, especially when it's just dealing with letters.
Right.
They're not giving you any numbers or anything. And there are going to be some questions that are going to be on your entrance exam that they want to know if you understand the operation of how to move stuff. And that's why I'm trying to show you a way of breaking the stuff down so you know where it goes.
Okay.
And the tricky thing is this number. Because people always skip that step. They don't realize that the average could be both the equation for average, which is what you wrote here, and it's also represented by some kind of number. So there's 2 ways of writing what an average is, and that's why I always want you to separate the 3 things when you're given a word question. And the more you practice that, the easier it's going to be.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, let's try
Number
the next one.
6.
Hold on one second. I want to stop the video and start another thing. Just give me a second.
Okay.